All right, hey everyone, welcome to today's podcast. I know I didn't get one out the previous week, just had some things going on, but we obviously have one out this week. I actually do want to mention a schedule change real quick. I am thinking of changing podcasts to Friday, so if you don't see one next Wednesday, it's because it's going to come out on Friday, simply because I'm thinking of doing videos Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then Saturday as well, but watch this space because I don't know exactly what I'm going to plan to do. But if you don't see it on Wednesday, just assume that the next one's going to be out on Friday. Okay, so let's get into it. It's podcast number 11. Got a lot of good questions here. Check out the Q&A, by the way, if you haven't already, which is the last video before this one. So we're going to get right into the questions right away here. We're not going to delay much longer. So I have a few small questions, and then I have a question that I said I would cover in depth in this podcast that I wasn't able to get to in the last one, and I really want to cover that, so I'm going to go over these other ones really quickly. Someone asked me, can you go pro playing D2 or D3 college football? I think he told me he was a JUCO player, JUCO, which I think means is at a 2-year program. And I'm guessing you're asking me if going D2 or D3 would give you a good chance of being pro. The thing about collegiate athletics and then going on to the next level, people seem to think that the only way to get and become pro after college is to make it into the draft, which in America, for those of you who don't know, there's a draft system, which means after college, if you're good enough, teams will pick you for the professional leagues. Basically from a draft system, so like teams will have a first draft pick, a second draft pick, and they'll go down the list of players. But for D2 and D3, that's a little more difficult. But however, I know plenty of players who played not in Division I college who did go pro after college. Even I know some people from D3 who did. There was a player or a couple players from the college I went to who went on to play pro, and we were D3. So don't worry about what division a college is. Yes, if you can get into like one of the best D1 colleges in the country, that's great. But outside of those teams, there isn't a ton of difference between D1 to D3. There's a little bit of difference because obviously there's scholarships involved, and players are obviously going to want to go to a school where they get a full ride to the college than to a school that can't offer that. But you find a lot of good players in D3, and you cannot play D3 soccer, collegiate soccer, if you're not a good player. There are no bad players in D3 collegiate football, and if there are, they won't be playing. So really, you need to be picking a team where you're going to grow as a player, where you're going to be getting experience, and use the remaining years of your college career in order to just become a better player. You'll have options after college. There are always open tryouts, if you create good relationships with the coaches you have, because I've gotten, I still get from my college coach, he'll send me emails with the latest tryouts of teams. He'll recommend me to coaches sometimes, so there's always different ways to go pro outside of just going through a draft. So don't worry if you want to go to a D2 or D3 college and that's your best option, just do it because it is high level football. It's still really good. And as long as you're working hard and growing from the experience, you'll set yourself up to potentially play professionally later. Professional teams aren't going to look at necessarily did he play D1 or D2 or D3. They might consider a little bit, but when it comes down to it, they're going to look at, are you good or not? Can you play? You can have a D1 player and a D3 player, and it's absolutely possible for the D3 player to be better. It doesn't mean that the D1 player is necessarily going to be a better player. So do not let that confuse you. There is a bit of difference, but it's not huge. And you can still go pro even if you're in D2 or D3 collegiate teams, okay? So I just wanted to answer that really quickly. Another question I want to answer really quickly. Someone asked me, how do I know what position to play? So like center mid, right wing, striker, defender, whatever it is. He said he's pretty good at every position, and the only position he can't really play is goalie. So how do I know what to pick? And this is an interesting question because for my life, I've basically played not that, a few positions. I either played striker, midfield, or winger. But when it comes down to it, you need to do one of two things. You need to choose the position you enjoy the most, the one you really love to play. So if you love to play striker, play striker. If you love to play winger, play winger. Of course, you don't always have a choice in the matter because your coach is going to make the decision. For example, when I was in high school, I played striker and center mid for my high school team, but for my club team, I played on the wing most of the time and would sometimes play striker. So it's going to be up to your coach. The best thing, the fact that you're versatile and you can play in many different positions is a very good conundrum to have, simply because coaches love players that are versatile. Players that can play more than one position are very valuable to coaches. Yes, you should have a best position. You should have a position that you are head and shoulders better at above all the other positions. But if you can do a job in many different positions, that's a good thing. Now, as far as picking that one position you're head and shoulders above the rest, Dan, that's just going to come down to, what do you play better in? Are you a good finisher? Can you score goals? It'll probably be striker. Are you someone who's really good at one-on-one situations and whipping a cross in? Then you might want to consider being a winger. Are you someone who reads the game very well? You control the game. You can dictate the tempo. You're very creative. Then center mid might be for you. And you can keep going down the list. It's hard for me to determine what position you seem to be better at without seeing someone play, and even then, I would have to see a lot of footage to get a very concrete, or give a very concrete answer on what position you're best at. But just for now, play in the position. If you're given a choice on what to play in what feels right. Play to your strengths. So, for example, again, if you're a good finisher, you will get more chances being a striker. If you're a good finisher, there's really no point in you playing defense unless you also happen to be an amazing defender. But play to your strengths. So if you are a very quick player who can beat players one-on-one and get good crosses in, then to play to your strengths, you probably want to be a winger. And of course, there's more to being a winger than that, but that's the general gist of it. If you are someone who can really control the game, can play nice intricate passes, has very good positional sense, is very creative, can control the tempo, then center mid might be a good position for you. But again, there are many factors that can determine this. For now, don't worry about being good at many different positions. That's definitely a good thing. That's called versatility. And coaches love that. But yes, you definitely want to figure out what your best position is. And to do that, you just need to look at your strengths and look at your weaknesses and see which, position would benefit the team the most if you were in that position. And that's most likely going to be your best position. Okay? So I wanted to cover that quickly. One more I want to cover quickly before we get to our main topic. It's how to not get frustrated when making mistakes. The question was phrased a little bit differently, but that was the general gist of the question. So how do you not get frustrated when making mistakes? Because all of us, we're in games and we'll miss a shot, or we'll miss an easy opportunity, or we'll try a skill move and it won't come off. And it's very easy to get frustrated in those moments when you seemingly fail at something or you make a mistake. But if you look at the top pros, like the really top pros, like the Messis and the Ronaldos and the Suarezes and the Neymars, the Hazards even, the biggest thing about these players is you can watch them have a crap game. People will write them off and be like, oh, he's past it. And then the next week they'll score a hat trick. And the reason for this is because they don't get frustrated. They realize they're going to make mistakes. Sure, they'll work on making as little as possible. I mean, the fewer mistakes you make, the better. But they don't get frustrated by the mistakes. I mean, sometimes they might. I mean, Ronaldo's known for, sometimes getting a little too emotional and letting it affect his performance. But for the most part, Ronaldo can miss a chance and then like 2 minutes, like an easy chance, and then 2 minutes later score like a 25-yard shot. But he wouldn't be able to do that if he gave up because he was frustrated. So really the only thing you can do in this situation is just don't let it overwhelm you. Like if you miss a shot, you just need to literally tell yourself, just get the next one. Because as soon as you miss that shot, that moment is over. It's in the past and you can't do anything about it. The only way that shot's going to affect you is if you let it affect you. Same if you try and beat someone one-on-one and a defender steals the ball from you. There's no point on reminiscing about that in the moment right now, because right now you should be getting back and trying to get that ball back. So you need to realize that once you've done something, the moment is over and you need to move on to the next. And that's how you can miss a shot or fail at a skill move and still get on with the game and continue to play well. This is what I personally do. I mean, I'm not saying I don't get frustrated from time to time. I do. But if I do get frustrated, I don't usually allow that frustration to affect me for too long. Maybe like a few seconds. My head might go down for a second or two. But you don't want it to let you affect you any longer than that. Because in my experience, I have been that kind of player where I've let things like that frustrate me and affect my game. Especially in the past when I was a younger player, I'd miss an easy chance, or I'd not be able to beat someone one-on-one, or I'd miscontrol it, make a bad pass, and I would let it affect the rest of my game, and you don't want that. It's okay to be frustrated in the moment for a second or two, but then you need to let it go, get your head up, get back in position, and get on to the next chance. That's the only way to do it, in my experience. So you just need to move on if you miss a shot. Make a bad play, whatever it may be, okay? And then just work, concentrate on making the next one good. If you make a mistake the next time, same thing. Just keep going, keep going, keep going. Okay, now we're on to our main question. And this is one and it looks like we have plenty of time, so that's good. And this is one I wanted to cover in depth because it's not just a question that's going to be awesome for soccer players. It's a question that is just can be related to life in general. And the question is how to be confident in life, follow your dreams, and not listen to haters. Now, so we're going to relate this obviously to soccer, but we'll relate this to real life situations as well. But this is a question that can be answered in many ways. Let's take it in pieces. So how to be confident in life. And confidence is just a reassurance in your ability, but there's a fine line between you being truly confident and you just putting on a front. And if you look at most people I found put on a front. They don't have actual true confidence in their ability. They don't have the confidence to be themselves all the time. They don't have the confidence to play their best game the whole time. It's kind of like a front. These are the kind of people who make excuses. They blame other people. So let's say they lose the ball in the match, though, like look at their teammate and be like, why didn't you get open for the pass? And in some situations they may seem confident, but that shows a lack of confidence. In fact, when they're blaming others, they're negative and things of that nature. People who are confident they're assured in their ability, but they know that they can always keep learning. And if you want to look at players who are confident, you just need to look at the best pros in the world. You look at the Ronaldos, you look at the Messis, the Suarezes, and something you'll notice about them, even if you think, or the Ibrahimoviches, even if you think they are arrogant, there's a fine line between internal arrogance and external arrogance. External arrogance is like an Ibrahimovic type of arrogance, where he's like, I am the best, I am God, I am blah, 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 I am going to, we're going to win this game before the game's even being played. That's called external arrogance. And honestly, that's the one that pisses people off. No one likes that kind of arrogance because they think, oh, who does he think he is? He thinks he's already won the game. He thinks he's already done this. But the fact of the matter is, behind the scenes, you better believe Ibrahimovic is working his ass off to back up those words. You better believe he's learning as much as he can to keep getting better. It's the same with Ronaldo. It's the same with Messi. It's the same with these players who seem to talk all this crap and yet still seem to be very, very good. And there's an important lesson I learned from someone I follow who talked about Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan was known for being a very arrogant, externally arrogant person. And what that means is, he would boast about how he was going to, cross over this player in a match before the match had been played. He'd boast about how he's the best, all these things. But the fact of the matter is, behind the scenes, coaches used to say this about Jordan. They said that Michael Jordan was the most coachable player that they'd ever coached. And what that means is Michael Jordan was willing to learn from everyone. Michael Jordan was willing to listen. He was willing to work on his game and work hard on his game. And honestly, I think that's true humility. You can look at the external things that they say. You can look at the taunting and the shit talking and all that. But when it comes down to it, it's what you do when nobody's listening. It's what you do behind the scenes. It's what you do when you're not in the spotlight. I don't care about players who, talk crap on the field or who say that they're the best, because the majority of those players, one, are not working that hard, but the ones that are, end up becoming like the Michael Jordans and the Cristiano Ronaldos and everything. They have an unwavering confidence in their ability. They know they're the best. And do you know why they know they're the best? Because they put in the work behind the scenes. See, there's nothing worse than someone who thinks they're the best who has nothing to back it up. And I don't mean it in the form of trophies or anything, but you ever have that player on your team, and I mean this in a non-biased type way, where you've not looked at them and smirked, but you looked at them and almost felt sorry for them, but you've had a player on your team or an opponent who literally thought they were the next big thing or they were Ronaldo, and they just so obviously were not. And not because, they had a bad game or anything, but just because you could tell they don't practice. You could tell they don't work on their game. They just, for some reason, without any substance, think that they're the best. This is what you want to avoid at all costs. This is how you don't become confident. People will tell you fake it till you make it, and there's some truth to that, but you do not want to become the kind of person who has phony, faux confidence, who has, who puts up a facade. This is the kind of confidence people develop just so that they don't have their feelings hurt. That's not the kind of confidence you want. You want real internal confidence, and this is how you gain that confidence. One, you work hard. What develops confidence? And you know what? I'm actually going to link a video in the description of this podcast I really recommend you watch. And it's a TED Talk. And it's actually by a soccer coach who goes over how to develop confidence and how to instill confidence in people. And it's very good. And I'm going to go over one of the ideas he went over. And it's one of the ways you develop confidence is you work your ass off. You work your ass off. You think if you go to the field and work on your finishing 4 hours every day, I mean, you don't have to go that extreme, but let's say you go to the field and work on your finishing an hour every day. Do you think you will be confident or unconfident when you step on the pitch and you have a chance? You're going to be so confident because you've done it. You've put in the work. Now, what happens if you have not practiced at all and you have a chance in the match? Of course you're not going to be confident. You don't know what to do. How could you know what to do? You haven't practiced this. You might get lucky. You might actually score. But the fact of the matter is you are not going to be confident while you do it because you have no reference point. You have nothing to go on. You haven't done it. So you do not want to develop the type of confidence, the pseudo-confidence that will make it seem like you're good even though you've done nothing, right? You want the people who have achieved, the people who have put in the work, to me, have the right to gloat. And you know what? I don't like it when people criticize these people because the people who do criticize the people who end up gloating, who actually put in the work, are the same people who don't want to put in the work themselves. And the reason they usually criticize the people who are gloating, who are saying, I'm the best, blah, 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 I'm going to win this game, the people who usually criticize those people are the people who are not willing to put in the work and are usually jealous, envious of those people and their success. So you don't want that type of confidence where you just think, for some God-given reason, you should be amazing, right? Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't believe you're good. You should develop that type of confidence, but there's a difference between pseudo-confidence and real confidence. So the first way to develop that confidence is repetition, is keep doing. I know you said confidence in life, but it's the same. What are you unconfident at? Pick any category you're not confident in. How do you become confident in that area? It's repetition. So let's say you have social anxiety. I mean, this is veering off soccer a little, but like social anxiety, how do you become more confident socially? You have to become more social. You have to push yourself. People want to, it seems, become good at things or confident at things without putting in the work, without going through the pain. We talked about pain period in the last podcast, which is you have to get through that pain period in order to grow, to be consistent, to stay on track with things. It's the same when you want to become confident. You can't expect to become confident without a little bit of pain, usually a lot of pain. It takes work. It takes growth. I'm not confident. I'm not confident in every area of my life. I'm not confident, apparently, in speaking. I'm not confident in every area of my life as well. But I'm very abundantly aware that if I want to become confident in those areas, I have to practice in those areas. It doesn't matter if it's soccer. It doesn't matter if it's socially. It doesn't matter if it's, I don't know, anything else. Just being myself. The way you get confident in those areas is you do them. You do them over and over. You put in the hard work. You put in the research. And I know that might not be the answer. I hope you're not looking for like a quick fix, because the fact of the matter is there really isn't much of a quick fix. Even if you want to become confident to the point where you have belief in yourself in everything, that's a mental thing and a mindset thing, and you're going to have to work hard in order to change your mindsets and your habitual thoughts, because that's what's ultimately leading you to being not confident. So how do you become confident in life? Work hard at whatever area it is you're trying to be confident in. So just insert whatever blank area you're trying to become confident in, and you have to put in the work, do the research, leave no stone unturned, and more importantly, take action. It's no good to just listen to this podcast and then think you'll be good at soccer, or watch a bunch of videos. You actually have to take action once you have all this information. Because it's the implementation of the information which is actually going to make you good at something, okay? And when you're good at something, you'll be confident. When you're truly good at something, you'll be confident. You don't want to be the person who's super confident before they're good at something. I'm not saying be unconfident before you're good. When you're not good, when you think you're not good, here's what you do. You be confident in your ability to make yourself better, and then you work. Okay, that's the biggest piece of advice I can give on confidence. Again, take a look at that TED Talk. I really love how this guy in the TED Talk goes over it. Again, he's a soccer coach, collegiate soccer coach as well, who has trained players that have gone on to be pro. He even gives an example of that, so definitely check that out. So next is follow your dreams. Which was the second part of this question, and I spent a lot of time on confidence, it seems. So follow your dreams is a weird one because simply it's a very broad topic. I don't know what your aspirations are. I don't know what your dreams are, and some people don't know what they want to do as far as dreams. I'm assuming this is soccer related. I'm assuming your dream is maybe go pro, maybe it's just play collegiate, no matter what it is. But again, this is very similar. A lot of these tie together. It's like confidence, following your dreams, and not listening to haters, all like come full circle back on in each other because they're all very related, and you need to get a hold of each of them in order to get the other one. So following your dreams, we're going to relate this to soccer, but you can apply this to any dream that you have. Again, is going to take a lot of work. You aren't, as much as someone may have told you when you were young that you deserve everything in life that life has to offer. It's just not true unless you work hard. I do believe that every single person could achieve success in whatever area they want for the most part, or at least the areas they're talented in if they work hard enough. The problem is a lot of people don't want to work hard to get there. We live in a very instant gratifying culture, and what that means is we want things right away, and we're used to getting things right away. I mean, we have the internet, we can get information right away. Most of us can get food right away. Most of us can get to a thing that would normally take us, hours and hours to walk to, because we have a car, we can get there in 10 minutes. So we have this kind of addiction to instant gratification, and that's the enemy of hard work. You can't expect instant gratification with hard work. Results are not going to come that quickly when you're trying to follow your dreams. So what I will say is you definitely should follow your dreams. I don't want to tell you to not to. Anyone who tells you not to follow your dreams, you need to ignore that immediately. And that might be a bit of a controversial thing to say, but there's two things you can do in life. You can be safe. And you can follow the path that people have laid out for you, or you can follow what you want to do. What does your heart tell you want to do? What are your dreams? What are the things that you want to accomplish? And you just need to keep going. Now, the thing is, I warn you, there's going to be adversity. I mean, as I've been following mine, and I'm still following mine, I'm always going to be learning. I'm always going to be on a path. Remember, there really is no destination. It's only the journey. But you can make it a very, very rewarding journey. Okay? So I would definitely implore you to follow your dreams. I don't know what specifically your dream is. Again, if it's soccer related, work as hard as you can. Leave no stone unturned. Put in the work that the other person is not willing to put in. Ignore the people who are trying to bring you down, because the more successful you become, or the better you become, the more haters you'll get. So we'll transition right into haters, how to not listen to haters. Here's what you need to realize. The better you become, the more haters you get. It doesn't matter what area of your life it is. You could become someone who's really good socially and really popular in school. You're going to get some people who are going to hate on you. You could be someone who wasn't that good at football, and then you worked your ass off and you became really good at football. Guess what? You're going to have many people hating on you. You could be someone who, starts their own business and becomes very successful, and you may even find people who were once your friends hating on you. You never know. But the fact of the matter is, the more you change your life and the better you become, the more haters you'll get. And you have to first realize this has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with them. It's their problem that they're going to hate. And again, we're going back to the confidence thing. People like to hate on people who are doing better than them because it justifies the way they are living. And what I mean is, if you're working your ass off and accomplishing things, that means it's possible. So to the person who's not doing that, they intuitively know, well, I could be doing that, but that's a lot of hard work, so instead I'm just going to try and bring this person down because that's a lot easier. Hating on someone is the easy route, and you don't want to take the easy route. So how do you not listen to haters? You do exactly that. You don't listen to haters. You don't invest your energy. I know this can be hard at first, but you simply ignore them. And this is what I've been doing recently. Like, I'm in a game yesterday, actually. It won't be yesterday when this podcast came out, but it was on Monday. We were playing a team, and a pretty good team, but they had a lot of people on there who were shit talking. So what did I do? I just completely ignored them. I didn't even give them the time of day. I just focused on my performance. And this comes with time. You have to practice this. Again, like I said, you have to practice everything you want to become good at and confident at. But eventually, you'll be doing so well. You'll be moving in a forward trajectory. You'll have dealt with so much rejection and failure that basically you are numb to it. You'll be at the point where haters, you don't even hear them anymore because you've become numb to them. Because they're not important, because it's small things. It doesn't matter. What does matter, though, is your success, your path, you getting better. And you know that is the main thing. And so you don't even focus on the haters. So that's the main thing, really, is how I deal with it. You can also deal with it. There are other ways to deal with it. Like, you can just laugh it off. You can, make it funny for yourself. I mean, even if I look through my comments, I've gotten comments recently which are very haterish comments. I've gotten ones like, I'm looking through it now. I can't see them, but I mean, generally they're positive. Mainly, the comments I get are positive, but I get ones that are very, very haterish. I mean, extremely haterish. I've had people, if I can find it here, who have outright criticized me, outright said you're awful, outright. There was one dude who said kill yourself. And the thing is, you can't put here it is right here. Actually, you can't give your energy to these people. Those kind of things I just laugh off or completely ignore. If I see a negative comment in my comment feed, I just scroll right by it. I don't even delete it. I don't give it any energy whatsoever. I don't give it any attention because it doesn't deserve any attention. So if you come across a hater, if it's on, and I know a lot of social media these days, that's where a lot of the hating goes on. Especially if it's on social media, don't respond at all. Do not respond to haters. That's what they want. They want that energy. They want to get under your skin. And by responding to them, you are pretty much showing that they are getting under your skin. Now, I know this can be a little harder when someone actually is in your face hating on you, or is like at the field hating on you and talking crap. But again, you just got to get used to ignoring them, or laughing it off. Those are the two best ways. Just remember what you are doing, why you were doing it. Remember what's important. Don't sweat the small stuff, and the haters will just dissolve away. You won't even hear it. It'll be like white noise, right? When I get someone who talks crap to me in games these days, I rarely hear it. I sometimes don't even register it until later. I'm like, oh, what'd that guy say? Oh, whatever. And then I'll keep going. And that's what happened in the Monday game. I didn't even register that they were shit talking until after the game. And I'm like, oh, okay. Because I was so focused on not them. I was focused on the game at hand and what I was doing. Okay. So don't let what someone else says affect you, especially if it's a hater, because the fact of the matter is it takes very little energy to be a hater. It takes very little effort to be a hater, and it will not affect you in any way unless you want it to affect you. And actually, this reminds me of, I'll end on this, on a very important thing. I might have to stand up to, where is it? Where is it? Oh, well, I think I remember it. Basically, it was something to do with happiness, but we can relate it to this. And basically, you have a choice between the stimulus and your response of what you're going to do. And what that means is the stimulus would be someone hating on you. So someone telling you suck, or someone saying you can't do this, or you can't do that, you can't follow your dreams, whatever it may be. That's the stimulus. then before you respond, you have a choice of how you're going to respond every single time. It's up to you. Your response can be anything. But the problem is most people are so conditioned, most people are so conditioned to give a knee-jerk response, an emotional knee-jerk response, which is usually anger, depression, being upset, or whatever else. But you can totally choose to just breathe, take a second, and say absolutely nothing, or laugh it off, or just remember that it doesn't matter. These people don't know what you're doing. They don't know the direction you're moving in. They don't know how hard you work. And you know what? You shouldn't care what they think. Okay? So just remember that every time you encounter a hater, just remember it's your choice how you react to them. It's 100% your choice. I'm going to tell you that now. There is no getting around that. It is your choice. So make the right choice, okay? So, all right. So, wow, that went by really quickly. So sorry if this went off on a few tangents. I didn't have all of the information I just gave you was pretty much off the top of my head of what I've internalized. So I didn't have any writing in front of me. So, there may be some areas that are a bit rough, but I think the information is good if you're trying to be confident, follow your dreams, and not listen to haters. So again, make sure you watch that video that I've linked in the description. Honestly, it's such a great video. I used to view it all the time, and actually I'm going to probably view it now because I haven't watched it in a while. But it's such a great video on confidence, and I love that he just happens to be a soccer coach and uses soccer analogies to explain confidence. So if you're definitely trying to instill more confidence in yourself, either in your game of football or in your life in general, definitely go take a look at that. Remember, leave any more of your questions down below. I don't have a topic in mind for the next podcast, so that means I'll probably answer more of your questions. If you made it all the way to the end, I mean, you're awesome, first and foremost. Let's not forget that, because this has been a 32-minute podcast so far, and if you've made it this far, then, I applaud you, because that means you are committed to learning. You are someone who wants to keep learning and bettering themselves, and I always like that kind of person. Any kind of person who wants to make progress, who wants to become the best version of themselves. I always love people like that, so I congratulate you. The hashtag we're going to use that you can put with your comment is going to be hashtag haters, since we talked about haters today. And if you put that in your comment along with your question, I'm more likely to answer your question. And even if you don't have a question, put hashtag haters in the comments, just so I know that you listened all the way through. All right, guys, thank you so much for listening. If you're new to Simply Soccer, make sure you subscribe and also like this video, whether you're subscribed or not subscribed. And if you are new to Simply Soccer and you listened all the way to the end, awesome, dude. I mean, that's some commitment there, that you're not even subscribed to me and you listen to this whole thing. So I would definitely consider subscribing if I were you. We release videos all the time that are designed to help you improve as a footballer. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. Don't forget the hashtag if you made it all the way here. I hope this video is being helpful. Remember, next week we might not have one on Wednesday. It might be on Friday. So if it doesn't come out on Wednesday, just expect it to come out on Friday. Once again, thank you guys, and I will see you either on the next video or on the next podcast.